Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another amazing car episode. In today's video, I want us to get to talk about, or basically, let's go through some special features and what makes this car very, very exceptional. And the car that we'll be talking about is the Toyota, the Mark II. So these cars, they have been in production for quite some time. The first car to come out of the production goes back to 1968, and of course the production has gone all the way to 2004. So these are cars which have been they have been in production for quite some time, and of course there is a reason for that, and one of those reasons is because this car, they were really embraced by so many users, and the reason for that is also because they had good performance as well as reliability. So we'll be looking into details what makes Mark II exceptional. We'll also be looking into its predecessor, some new features that we get to see come with Mark II, and of course the motor as well as external and interior specs that you'll be seeing with this car, and of course what you need to expect if you're looking to own one, or if you're already you're aspiring to be a Mark II owner, what to expect. So stick around for that conversation. I'll be your host. My name is Willie. And of course, if it's your first time coming across my videos, do consider hitting the subscribe button, which is just below here. Turn on the notification bell so that each and every time I get to bring you an episode like this one, you can always be notified. So just allow the intro to roll, and I'm going to see you on the other side. Well, whenever we get to talk about Mark II, remember these are cars which they go back to 1968. So they are cars which have been on our Kenyan road for more than, do the calculation, from 1968 up to 2020, that is 2026. Those are cars which have been on our Kenyan road for more than 4 decades. So when it comes to durability, they have crossed, or they have already passed that test, and we'll be seeing that this car came with a variety of engines. And of course, one thing is with Mark II is almost closer to the premium, the Nyoka version. I've done a video about it. You can just go ahead, you get to check it out. So one thing we'll be realizing with the Mark II, the minimum engine capacity that came out of production, it was the 1.8 liter. We also have the 2.0 liter. With the 1.8 liter petrol engine, this one is what was considered to be the most economical engine. And during that series, we had the 2.0 liter, and we had the 3.0, the 3 liter, the 3.0 liter, the 6 piston engine. So that's the high end, the high performance engine, which was also we had the GTE, the 2.5. This one came with the turbo. It was also this one was turbocharged. So with this variety of engine, it gave the users the ability to select from a number of options which engine they found it fit for them. But the most common and the most common economical among the three, it was the 1.8, the naturally aspirated petrol engine. So this one was preferred by many because it was a bit moderate when it comes to fuel consumption. But with this engine, it's important that you get to understand this engine, the 1.8, it was known as the 4S. The 4S. This is the most popular among the Mark IIs, because if you go with the 3 liter engine, that one in terms of the fuel consumption, it was a bit high. So the 1.8, that's what we'll be looking into details. To start with, it came with 4 piston, and they were all in line, which also came in combination with the double overhead camshaft technology, which I've said time and again in my previous video. Majority of the Toyota engine you will be seeing, they do come with that feature of the double overhead camshaft, and this is it's more of a secret which really gets to improve in terms of how the engine runs, how smooth the engine runs. Also, its longevity, it's a factor which is also determined by the double overhead camshaft. And remember, with the double overhead camshaft, we are talking about where there are two camshafts. One, its sole purpose, of course, is to push in fresh air into the engine, while the other one is to push out the exhaust gas. And remember, with the 4 cylinders comes the 16 valves. Four every cylinder has two valves is to push in fresh air, while two is to push out the exhaust gas. So that's something that it's more of basic to realize when it comes to the Mark II. Also, this engine was not turbocharged, meaning it was naturally aspirated. Also, we have seen mostly with the turbocharged engine, their lifespan tend to be a bit reduced because the engine tend to be exposed to more wear and tear. The engine is also pushed beyond its limit, so there are more factors which are brought into the picture. Also, they tend to lower the lifespan of the engine. So with the natural aspirated, also it's a plus because the engine can get to live longer. So when it comes to fuel system, this car came with a multi-point fuel injection, which is very efficient in terms of the how the engine consumes the fuel, how well, how economical it is. It's a factor which is usually also determined by the fuel system. So with the Mark II, majority of them they had the rear wheel drive, meaning the rear wheels they were the one which were being powered by the motor, which makes it ideal for things like drifting. Most of the cars which are used for drifting the area wheel drive. So you might realize the Mark IIs, the Mark X, as well as most of the BMWs, they are usually preferred when it comes to drifting. And that's an advantage which comes with the rear wheel drive. So that's the case with majority of the Mark IIs. So when it comes to the engine, it came paired with either the 4-speed automatic or the 5-speed manual, but majority they were manual. And of course, with the manual, remember a manual, a car that comes with manual transmission system, it has that fun because the driver gets to engage with the car from time to time to make sure that the car can get to move according to how the driver wants. So that's something. Basically, those are some of the basic things to know when it comes to the to the engine of the Mark II. Now let's just go ahead and get to look into a different specs, and in this one we'll be looking into the internal specs. Well, when you get to look at the interior specs of the Mark X, the Mark II, more of the Mark II and the Mark X, they are more of the interior almost looks the same in terms of the leg room, the headroom, the cabin, how the driver's cockpit looks like. It's more of similar to the Mark X, and that's why you can see there's more of some confusion between the Mark II and the Mark X. Remember, most of the features that you'll be seeing with the Mark X were borrowed from the Mark II. So from the chase, the length of the chase, the wheel size, the interior, apart from just some more advanced features that you get to see with the motor that gets to power the Mark X, majority of these features they were purely borrowed from the Mark II. So these are 5-passenger car. We have 2 at the front and 3 at the back. The seats, majority of the units do come with that is the leather upholstery, but you'll be seeing some units which comes with the fabric, and it's not a standard thing, but they guess also to give the car some unique look. Looking at the dashboard, you have a trim, the wooden trim, which makes the dashboard also to look exceptional and of course unique for that case. We have the center console which comes combined with the infotainment system. With this unit, you can see there are those ones which comes with the analog AM FM radio. Remember, we're talking about cars which have been in production from 1968, so we won't be seeing majority of the advanced and the latest aspects that you get to see with the high-end cars nowadays. So we have the climate control with the manual control. You get to tune on those knobs. We also have things like we have in here we have more space for putting in your items. We have things like the side pocket doors, the door pockets that is. We also have the windows and the side mirrors. They are electric powered. So around here from the driver's side, you can get to control the windows as well as the side mirrors. Also, we also have the central control locking system, which is very unique and exceptional. So when it comes to things like the 2004 units, some of them they did come with things like driver's assist, the cruise assist, which makes the car also to look more updated. Those are some of the features that we'll be seeing with majority of the high end and of course the latest model. So you can get to do some aftermarket modification. You can get to install some digital, that is smart screen here. It comes also with the navigation, but those are just aftermarket upgrades that you can get to do if you want to. So for the case of the safety, the car came with two airbag system, one at the middle of the driver's, that is the steering, at the middle of the steering, and another one on the passenger side, which is very very efficient, especially at times when you get to come into high impact. They really get to save our lives. So basically, that's all we need to look at when it comes to the interior of the Mark II. Now let's just go ahead and get to look at what you get to see from the outside. Well. Looking from the outside, you can't fail to recognize that this is a car which is very, very long in terms of the chassis, and there's an advantage that comes with that. Such a long car comes, it has low center of gravity, as well as with the long chase gives the car stability, especially when it's cruising at high speed. Also, you can see with the Mark II, it had a stretched hood, as well as the boot area, which is makes the car to look more stretched. With this car, we had some units which came with either the 15, the 14, or the 16-inch wheel. And of course, in terms of the ground clearance, it's not that they didn't have that huge ground clearance, but either way, the car gets to give you the ability to maneuver places which are not they are not that tough terrain, as well as outside the city drives. The car can really get to serve very, very well. So with the long boot stretch, of course, gives more space for luggages and all that. When it comes to things like advanced features that you get to see from the front, this car came, of course, majority came with fog lights, but it's not a standard thing. They had this grill, silver grill. Majority of them they had a silver grill, which is a unique feature with this one, which makes the car to look a bit different, as well as two splitted headlights, which are very, very powerful, especially when you're cruising at night. So we had some units which had a different look, but this is the look of majority of them. So basically, that's all you get to know about the Mark II from the outside. Remember, it's a car from Toyota. That's why you get to see that Toyota logo from the behind, as well as the car identity logo from the front. So basically, that's all you need to know about the Mark II. Talk to me in the comment section if you have liked the video. You can add more information if there's any I've missed out, and we really, really appreciate it. Peace, guys. For now.